All right, well, let's get into the news.
Listen now from South America, all the ships and clippers at sea. Let's go to press. News.
A little bit of sad news to start with. John Conway, who was the inventor of the game of life, he's died of COVID-19 complications. Sad to say that he will probably not be the last that we will be announcing as these things go. Conway was a Princeton mathematician. He was 82 years old, and Conway's game of life was a very interesting game. It was not the game of life that we know. Okay, let's be clear about this. It's a game, rather, that was about cells. Sort of very interesting. The people used it for modeling viruses, for modeling all sorts of things. You can check it out at conwaylife.com. John Conway, dead from COVID-19, sorry to say. Next up in news, we're going to talk about conventions. So, as we speak, Origins has moved their convention. We talked about that last week. They moved their convention to within 2 weeks of Essen, which is going to cause problems for some people, maybe even within 1 week of Essen. The San Diego Comic-Con has canceled their convention, one of the largest fan-based, geek-based conventions in the world, has canceled, just shut it all down. Right around there, 1 week away from there, is Gen Con. Gen Con currently is still full steam ahead and going to happen, but the fact that San Diego Comic-Con has closed down makes a lot of people wonder, is Gen Con going to happen? Elder, you have come to Gen Con with me. You've been part of our Gen Con crew many, many, many years. Could you imagine where we are now? Even though it is, several months away, could you imagine a Gen Con experience that would feel doable in our current environment?
No way. Not this year. And I'm also a big fan and attender. I've gone to Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, been fortunate enough to be able to go pretty much every year for about the last 20 years. So it's a big deal. Usually happens around my birthday. It's usually a way I celebrate. And
you don't just go. You and your wife do team cosplay. I have seen you guys as X-Men. I have seen you as Thundercats. I have seen you in person as both of those, I think. But what a fun weekend that is, right?
Yeah. I don't see any big things like that happening, in this year, in 2020. Maybe if we're lucky in 2021.
Yeah.
But I just don't see it in any way that it's really safe or that people feel comfortable or that, the numbers of people. I hate to even, the thought just came to my mind. It's like, if they did have it anytime soon, it definitely would be a way to, because it's been overcrowded at San Diego Comic-Con for years. I'm sure they wouldn't even get half the attendance that they normally get just out of concern, right?
Sure, absolutely.
Put it on. But there's no way. It's just...
I don't think so either. And they were talking to the Friedhelm Merz Verlag, who runs Spiel, the Essen Spiel, the huge one that Maddie and Trey and I went to a couple years back. And they are currently still going ahead, but when you ask them about it, they phrase it in an interesting way. They're like, well, look, we still have 7 months before Spiel is supposed to come, so we're certainly too early to make a decision. So they're not saying we're not having it, but they're also not expressing tremendous confidence that it's going to happen, and that's in October. So, listen, there's so many things we don't know about this virus. There's so many things we don't know about what the world is going to be like a month from now, let alone 7 months from now. We're all just in a new world where we have to take things day by day. I'm very, very glad that San Diego Comic-Con canceled their show. I think that is a very, very wise, a very safe thing to do. I think it was a good idea on their part. I don't think Essen needs to shut down yet. I don't think Gen Con needs to shut down yet. I will say that coming up soon, Gen Con is going to have their event registration, which is a big day when everyone gets online and tries to get into the particular games and events that they want to do. I would say that for Gen Con, the interesting thing is that a lot of people buy their badges right before that. So it does become one of those things where, what do? Do you feel the pressure to make a decision on whether Gen Con is happening before all of these people start paying you money to come to someplace that you know that there's a darn decent chance that it might not happen? I don't know. I don't know what to do in that situation, but
yeah. Well, I can tell you, I've been having, a few pretty particular conversations just about the opportunity of consulting or, creating some type of service where, there's all these conventions that, have all this money on the line. That's their main reason to exist, is to have these big conventions which generate millions and millions of dollars. Like, I really feel for San Diego. I've heard some stats where, Comic-Con is like 50% of their economy. And what do they do, in the midst of, with all this other stuff just being shut down, and then they don't have Comic-Con to rely on for that revenue for the city. I mean, it's really tragic in that way. But these companies have to do something, because in some cases they do have people registered already. Money's on the line.
Oh yeah.
So trying to figure out what is a way to deliver that convention experience in a safe way online through, virtual means. And maybe that means some type of, the obvious thing is streaming, but also maybe with virtual reality. How can you build more interactivity? And I think a lot of what we're experiencing in the board game space is maybe a clue to that, having these virtual rooms where people can get together and interact and just kind of emulate that.
Yeah, I
totally think it's going to be a really big trend over the next year or so.
Yeah, I think you hate to talk about all the good things that a virus is doing, but I do think that we are being pushed into a world that we probably should have been in already in some ways, at least in the sense of, why aren't more people working from home, or at least working from home a day or two a week? What would that do for pollution in certain cities, for gas consumption, for things like that? I mean, there's a lot that we have the infrastructure to change our ways, and we just haven't changed them yet. And we can pull some good things out of this very bad situation. And I think we need to, and what you're talking about, trying to figure out virtualization opportunities that add to user experience, as opposed to just replace something that you can't do anymore, I think is a really good thing to do. Let's move on. Let's get to a few games we can talk about. There's not a lot of game news, as you might expect, but David Turksey didn't get the memo. Just last week, we were talking about a new David Turksey game coming out, and now we have another one to talk about. This game is called Excavation Earth, which he co-designed with Gordon Kaleha, who did Post-Human Saga, and Wai Yi, who did a game called Pocket Dragon. This is a medium-heavy set collection market manipulation game, 1 to 4 players, and plays in about 2 hours. The idea is centuries from now, or a century from now, Earth is just in ruins. Races from neighboring solar systems come here to find artifacts left by extinct races, and now they're excavating Earth. And we lead one of the alien race explorers as we try to find rare human artifacts for the ultimate art collection sell-off. So it sounds fun. It sounds like a really fun theme. It sounds like very, tongue-in-cheek. You get a hand of multi-use cards. Love multi-use cards, always have. And then players take quick turns playing the actions that allow them to move their explorers around, excavate for artifacts, deploy traders to the bazaars, and there's sort of a market, so there's prices, and there's also a black market. I don't know. It sounds like it's a lot of fun. Philip Cruz did the artwork, and the artwork looks gorgeous. Mighty Boards is the company that's going to be putting this out. I highly recommend you check this out. David Turksey, there's no question, he's a very, very good designer, and this looks like a lot of fun. And for a medium-heavy game that's got that's got set collection, that's got worker placement, that's got a lot of tough decisions. I don't know. It sounds like my kind of brew. What do you think?
Yeah, looks beautiful. Definitely would love to try it.
Yeah, totally right. And next up, Cloudspire has a Kickstarter right now. By the time you listen to it, there's going to be a couple days left to go on the Kickstarter. Pledge goal was $50,000. They're at close to $500,000. So I think it kicked. And this is an expansion called Ankar's Plunder, which adds 2 unique factions, solo and co-op scenarios. Spoiler alert: I got a prototype of Ankar's Plunder, and Maddie is playing it when he has a moment. And you can expect a solo mode episode coming out very soon, which is going to review Cloudspire with Ankar's Plunder. And the Kickstarter also includes a series reprint of the base game, the award-winning Cloudspire. So check it out if you're into it. Maddie's had this for a while. He's trying to get the review out, but listen, he's got 2 kids under the age of 2 in a house that is social distancing. I mean, it's a Herculean task just to survive the day in that situation. I think they're doing a great job. I think they are amazing parents. But gaming has got to take the back seat a little bit for Maddie right at this moment. And we look very much forward to this review when it comes. You ever played a Cloudspire or MOBA games or any of that sort of stuff?
I've played MOBAs online, but I've never tried a board game version other than the one that Riot put out. I tried that once and was kind of lukewarm on it. I think I tend to like the heavier resource management stuff. So I could see there could be something to playing a MOBA on the tabletop, but generally like to do something else.
Yeah, for Elder, if there aren't a minimum of 14 different resources that you can earn and collect and trade, he's not interested. That is a classic Elder game. Let's move on to Matt Leacock has put out another Pandemic. Why not? Everybody is talking about Pandemic all the time. There was a article that I saw this week, which was basically somebody saying going through the various Pandemic games for people that don't know Pandemic and breaking them down, including games that aren't specifically Pandemic, Hot Zone, and other games. This one is called Pandemic Hot Zone North America. What it is you're trying to cure 3 deadly diseases only in North America. It's sort of a shorter, portable version of Pandemic. Plays in only 30 minutes. So if you have people that Pandemic is a little too much for, listen, Pandemic to us feels kind of light. To people that are used to checkers and to Monopoly and things like that, Pandemic could seem like a little much. It could seem a little heavier, a little more than what they want to do. I mean, I think that a 30-minute short version that just condenses a map and really distills the experience down is a good idea. So, Pandemic Hot Zone coming out at some point in 2020. Next up, we have Kemet, Blood and Sand. Elder, you played Kemet, yes?
Once or twice.
Once or twice. What did you think? What's your gut on it?
Well, I obviously didn't like it that much if I only played it once or twice.
I guess that's right. You are a binge gamer, so you go. The idea of it was good, though, right? The idea of it was, what if we can do Dune? In a sort of stripped down version. What if we can do a big armies fighting armies game? We have special powers, but instead of these, this old style of cards that we play on a wheel to determine who wins the battle, we are drafting tiles, and these tiles are giving our armies advantages, and so on and so forth. I mean, that's what it was supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a matter of my taste. I don't particularly like, and if in case you haven't noticed by now, I'm very particular. Like, I'm usually when we play what game are we going to play next game in between sessions, I'm usually the pickiest person typically.
You and Jennifer and Trey. Jennifer, and Trey are the three people that'll be standing in my back room looking at 300 games. And the three of you will be like, what about this one? And one of you will be like, nah. And then the next person goes, oh, wait, we could play this. Nah.
Yeah, I don't typically like conflict games. So, that's
gonna rule you out. I think Kemet is a good conflict game. I think it's a good dudes on a map game. Quite good, in fact.
Yeah.
Because it's got a lot of strategy. It's not a dice chucker. It's if you're picking the right upgrades, you're making the right moves, you're making the right choices with your limited resources, you're going to have a really good chance at winning the game. I think it's pretty clever as far as that goes. My thing about it is that it's trying to redo Dune and trying to make a better Dune, and I personally love Dune so much. I'm like, no, it's not better. It's not better than Dune. It's different than Dune, but it's not better. They have an expansion, or they have a new version called Kemet, Blood and Sand, and it's just been announced that it is going to be coming to Kickstarter on May 26th. This is going to be it's going to have new rules based on gaming community feedback. There were some rules issues, streamlined rules and gameplay. This thing they're promising. They promise that it has had countless hours of playtesting and amazing new art and miniatures. So take a look at it.
Yeah, and that said, when I think back on those 1 or 2 plays, I do remember having fun, and that I did think it was a good game. It had good art even at that point, so I can only imagine what the new. I love Egyptian, kind of as a theme.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So I would give it another go, and I definitely recommend if you do like conflict games, then this, and you haven't played this, then you should definitely check it out.
Totally. Yeah. I think for you, it's that the very best game ever of that type. You're still probably not going to play a lot because it's just not your thing.
Right.
Yeah. And Command is good, definitely. And then last but not least, I figure we could all use a little lightening up. We could all use a little bit of fun. The most fun article I've read in a long time about board games comes from the oh so ridiculous, oh so wonderful Rob Report. Are you familiar with the Rob Report, Elder?
I'm not.
So the Rob Report is a super glossy magazine that you can buy in. Like if you're a douchebag with a massive 401k, that's the thing that you buy at the at Hudson News at the airport when you're about to get on a plane.
Got it.
It has got. It's like 85% ads, and the ads are for Bugatti Veyrons and, boxes that keep your self-winding watches moving so that they keep wound and so on and so forth. It is the magazine of conspicuous consumerism and just dripping with this is designed for the richest people. It's got a wonderful, wonderful sort of classified ad section in the back where people are breeding rare tigers that you can buy and all sorts of things like that. And they put out an article, 8 luxury board games to keep you entertained and away from your screen in quarantine. And I just love this so much. I can't begin to tell you. They're talking about a bespoke games maker, Alexandra Llewellyn, which, by the way, the perfect name for a bespoke games maker. Alexandra Llewellyn has decided to make some bespoke games for the upper crust. One of her first hits in the USA, Llewellyn crafted bespoke backgammon and poker sets. We love this jaunty flamingo design made for Miami Surf Club, and it only costs $14,500. The Okapi Oracle deck set, launched by a South African artist and daughter of Richmond chairman Johan Rupert. This one has a standard 52-card deck with 2 jokers, but made with special hand-drawn African deities and animals on each card. This sounds like something you might want, Elder. A deck of playing cards for only $136. That's it, Elder. That's it.
Amazing.
Come on. How are you not in? Okay. How about Bruno Cucinelli's Game of the Goose? The King of Kashmir knows a thing or two about staying cozy, and these days that means being swaddled in the finest yarns with the family, or perhaps a board game together around the kitchen table or hearth. Cucinelli has a rather interesting offering. Game of the Goose is one of the earliest commercially produced games. A dice game and easy to play, and when I look at it, it looks ridiculously easy to play. The first person to reach the 63rd space on the board wins. Oh! This Swizzy version is made in crayon and walnut wood. $9,270. But the best of all, Baccarat Dominoes. Yes, that's right. The game of dominoes has evolved, and the Baccarat version is a long way from the simple wood and stone versions of yore. Designer Marcel Wanders, this lustrous model is carved from black crystal with a box inlaid with marble. $8,200. Or you can get the similar version done for the game of Go, one of the oldest games in the world. That one is available at a brisk $25,000.
Wow.
Oh, and I guess I can't leave off the Jeffrey Parker Billionaire Monopoly set. This Monopoly set has gold pieces, gold inlay on the spaces on the board, a leather center area on the board, including a leather cup to hold your dice. The pieces are miniature jets and yachts. And I believe you can have it for just $6,357. Right? I believe shipping not included, so just keep that in mind, everybody. But if you want to check this out, just Google Rob Report Luxury Board Games and have yourself a little fun. That is absolutely adorable. And that is everything that we got on the news.
Hey, if you enjoyed that video, you very well might enjoy the other videos you now see being suggested to you on screen. Also, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could like, share, or subscribe to our Game Brain channel. Thanks so much.